This is a poorly framed shot.
Okay, we're live again. Apologize for the technical difficulties. There always seem to be some popping up every now and again. We were in the middle of talking to Marlon James on Pelican Talks, and I was just about to ask him about the American writer James Ellroy, because that writer has CIA agents, gangsters, and operatives in his books, and all involved in Kennedy's assassination. And I was asking him whether he found any inspiration in Ellroy's novels.
Mm-hmm. So, and I said, yeah, he's a huge, I mean, James, well, particularly his novel, American Tabloid, that was probably the biggest influence on my book. That novel came out of him being, you know, Don DeLillo's Libra being a big influence on him. James Ellroy, you know, read his novel Libra, which is about the Kennedy assassination, and realized I could never write this. And ends up writing a novel that's almost in response to Libra. I remember reading American Tabloid and thinking I could never write this. and the novel I wrote ended up being sort of in response to American Tabloid. Why is that book important? There are quite a few reasons. One being it was set in a contemporary time. It was making sense of the 60s, although my book is more the 70s. It was a book where politics, crime, and U.S. foreign policy were both all linked. Which, hello, Jamaica, you know, it sounds like a Jamaican novel already. So the thing about that novel, which is again also about the Kennedy assassination, but also about the Cold War, and my book is also about the Cold War, is the novel, and this is something only the novel can do. The novel does something that the history books can't do or won't do, which is talk about these major events in history through the so-called minor people who either cause it or who it impacts upon. So a character like Nina Burgess is not going to be in a history book. She'll be in a novel. And so these major events told by minor characters was a big influence on me. And also the way, the musicality of what he writes. His book shows how much he loves jazz. I think my books show how much I love rock and reggae. And I think that lyricism is also something that that I got from him. So, you know, I met him and I was like, dude, I stole everything from you. Yeah.
There are lots of parallels.
Well, you know, I did an article for LA Times that asked me to name the great American novel. And I said, there's no such thing as a great American novel. That's a terrible idea. But if you're going to put a gun to my head, I'd put American Tabloid. And he read it and he was like, I read that great stuff you wrote about me in the LA Times. Like, I'm going, oh my God, James Ellroy is talking to me right now.
Oh, wow. It's a surreal moment, right?
It was very surreal.
That's great. Okay. Well, let's talk about Josey Wales, because that's the key villain. He's a psychopathic gang leader. And I thought that, like Jane Austen, you tend to love your kind of unsavory characters. And so is Josey Wales your most Austenian character?
I don't know if he would be the most. I still think it would be Nina Burgess and her many incarnations, because through her we get a lens on a type of society we don't always see in Jamaican fiction. We don't always see middle class in Jamaican fiction. Right. You know, in Jamaican fiction, people tend not to live in Mona. They live in Wait a Bit Clarendon. Nothing wrong with that. But we don't get Mona. We don't get Havendale. We don't get Dunrobin Park. And I think there's an idea that we also sometimes think that because it's so middle class, because when photographers come to Jamaica, they don't want to shoot Duane Park, that no drama happens there. Drama happens everywhere in Jamaica. And that's the thing about Austen. That and I think that wherever the character who through whose eyes we see most of the contradictions of society. And I think that's really Nina. But to come back to the unsavory characters, because you're right, Jane Austen is very good at not just humanizing unsavory characters, but her unsavory characters also tend to be the only people who know what's really going on.
Mm.
And that I definitely got from her, and that I definitely got. That's definitely Josey. You know, I'm not very crazy on people who end up killing so many people, but man, he has such a refreshing worldview. Like, and that's what makes him complicated, because what he says makes a lot of sense. But he's out there killing people.
Yeah. That's interesting, the paradox there. But it's also interesting what you said about middle class, because you're quite right. There is not really a view in literature about the middle class, and they are, you know, they have, as you say, their own drama, their own is going on. So it's a really interesting take on that. But I personally love Jane Austen. I think actually that she'd be like Shonda Rhimes today. She'd write a TV series. What do you think?
I love Jane Austen. I read Pride and Prejudice nearly every year. There are some things I think only that Jane Austen nailed. I mean, of course, there's the irony, and nobody has done it better. There is the way in which she really gets in. It's I can spend a lot of time explaining class to people, and just read Jane Austen. And also, again, with her humanity with characters like Mrs. Bennet and Mr. Collins and so on, that they may be, you may think they're not your favorite characters, but they're the only people who understand what's going on in the world around them. And I think all of that remains and will remain important. I go back and forth on what's my favorite. Usually my default favorite is Emma.
Okay.
But again, I read Pride and Prejudice so much.
It's my favorite book, really.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I heard in an interview that you said, as a writer, the first person you have to shut up is yourself. Why is that?
Well, I meant my internal critic.
Okay.
Now, we all have one. Even when we're not writing, we have an internal critic. It's the internal critic who say, "Are you going to leave in that dress?" We all have one. But I find that the internal critic can be very useful, criticizing, analyzing something that's finished. A critic doesn't help you create. And when you're creating and criticizing yourself at the same time, you're just undercutting your own creativity. You're doing exactly what somebody who criticized you before you even finished something does. If you're there painting a painting and somebody immediately comes in when you just put one drop of paint and start to trash it, you may never do the painting, or instead of making a painting, you're not creating. Instead of painting a painting, you're merely responding to a criticism. So did you create art, or did you respond to a critic? So it's all a matter of timing. If I'm at the stage where I'm still trying to create something, that critic is useless. Because all I'm going to do if I listen is I'm not creating, I'm just responding to a critic. So I think that's the first voice I have to shut up, the voice that says you're not good enough. And that one, every novel I start, that's the first thing that comes out of my head. You're not good enough.
Well, I'm glad that you overcome that voice and continue writing. That's great.
Yes, but must it come every damn time?
Apparently.
Every book I start, that's the first voice. You can't do this.
Okay. You also said when A Brief History started that there was only one voice, one character, and that it was supposed to be your shortest book.
Yeah.
And that what is now page 458, I think, it's on
page 458. Yeah, it's I tried to write. I was like, again, because I was reading so much crime fiction. That's what I started. I started out trying to write a crime novel, a really short and quick crime novel about a hitman from Chicago who's commissioned to take out a Jamaican drug dealer, and I was all set on writing it, and it would be. I doubt it would have been even 200 pages, and I'd be done with it. And but I couldn't finish it, and I kept thinking that, well, I'll just write another short novel and See Where I Get, and I just couldn't finish any of them. And I was having dinner with my friend Rachel, and I said, I don't know whose story I'm supposed to write. And she says, well, what makes you think is one person's story? Right, and she also told me to go and read, I've read it before, but to go and read William Faulkner's As I Lay Dying. And that was a eureka moment. It doesn't have to be one person's story. I can have 76 different people tell a story. Because if you go, and in the hindsight, what other way could it have been? You know, it's because if I'm going to tell the story of where Jamaica was in 1976 and how we got here, one voice can't tell it. There's no one voice that can tell Jamaica's story. Even when I finished this book, I still had enough material to write a whole other book, because 100 voices can't tell the whole story of Jamaica. So it just had to be multiple voices.
Interesting. You mentioned music a lot, several times, and you said that you like to jot down the music you listen to while writing the various novels. Mm-hmm. So what music did you listen to? What
was I listening to when I was writing Brief History? Actually, not a lot of reggae.
Really?
No, I was listening to most of the reggae I was listening to. The reggae I was listening to when I was most writing Brief History, Dennis Brown and Augustus Pablo.
Oh, okay.
That was pretty much it. Other than that, I was actually listening to a lot of new wave. I was listening to New Order. I was listening to Joy Division. I was listening to Adam and the Ants. I was listening to Eurythmics. I was listening to a lot of French music because I don't know what the hell they're singing. And lots of jazz, lots of Miles Davis, tons of Miles Davis, and John Coltrane. That's what I was listening to when I was writing. I mean, the novel I wrote before was set during slavery, and the music I was listening to the most was Björk. It was like electronic music from a singer from Iceland. Mm-hmm. So you never can tell what can help spark creativity. What can spark creativity without being distracting? Yeah. Hence me listening to a lot of music in languages I don't know. So.
Okay. That's interesting because that's such a variety of music. That's probably where all the 76 characters came out of. All of that.
And I mean, you know, growing up in a big family, I grew up in noise. You're never going to find a quiet time to write an essay.
That's true.
I got used to it. I got used to the TV going. I still remember in what was that? Third form, I'm doing a project on Islam, and my mom just couldn't understand how I'm doing all this research but watching TV at the same time. I was like, it's a new generation. No, my students play games and are texting while they're in my class, thinking I don't see them do it.
Actually, I have a question that's just come in from a Caramac student who is asking how many siblings you have and if they influenced any of the characters in your novels.
They think so. I have 4 brothers and 3 sisters, so pretty big. 4 brothers, 3 sisters, different mom because my dad is a Jamaican dad, but that's all I'm going to say there. So we're pretty big and we're pretty close. No, not really. Some of my characters come from real people. A lot of my characters are based on people who have nothing to do with, say, Jamaica or the reality. I just think they're really interesting. And how would they be if I transferred them to Jamaica? Some characters are based on real people. So Arthur Jennings is based on somebody, and I vowed not to reveal who.
Okay.
But somebody came to me in Chicago and said, you know, Arthur Jennings is my great granduncle. I was like, I'm pretty sure he's not. I'm pretty sure he's not. Then he whispered his family name. I go, oh yeah, it's him. I'm not gonna tell anybody who that is. Y'all gonna find out. But he's like, he whispered the family name. I go, yep, it's him. It's him.
Very interesting. Okay,
Mhm.
well, a brief history. Do you think it's going to be seen as an HBO series anytime soon?
It certainly won't be HBO. HBO pulled out. We're thinking we're right now working with Netflix.
Oh, cool. Okay.
We're still in the discussion stage.
Mhm.
It's been all really, really good and really, really positive. I think Netflix would want a different kind of script than what HBO wanted. So there's going to be certainly a lot of rewrites there.
Mhm.
Um, and So yeah, it certainly will happen. I think it will be yeah, we just gonna have to sort of reconsider, refuel, and think about the series in a different way because Netflix is not HBO,
Right, right.
and they actually have really really different ideas about what makes a TV show.
Oh, okay.
So if you're gonna write for Netflix, you're writing a different kind of show because pretty much most Netflix stuff you watch online, you watch on a computer.
Right.
Sometimes you watch three, four, sometimes the entire season at once,
Hmm. Hmm.
which is a different way than writing a show where if I know you're going to watch all 10 episodes at once, I might not have to do a cliffhanger at the end.
Hmm.
If I know you're going to wait a whole 7 days before you come back, then that's a different kind of show. So
Right.
there is some slight difference in how
Mhm.
in how they work.
Okay. Are you writing for anything else? Is there any other TV things
Well,
that?
I'm not. Well, I'm actually working on two TV shows.
Hmm.
Um, the second one I'm working on is a detective show set in Jamaica. It's not based on my mother, as people think, because it's a female detective in Jamaica.
Okay. Just
My
happened.
sister.
Coincidence.
So, uh,
Just a coincidence.
it's a coincidence. It's gonna be like a detective show. It's each episode each season is one sort of murder. She's actually not a murder cop. She's actually drugs. She's actually narcotics, and she gets embroiled in a murder case. So we're
Okay.
working on that. That may happen. That may happen actually quicker before a lot. That may actually happen a lot earlier
And
than
then,
the brief history. Because
oh,
that one
okay.
is an original series. It's not based on the book or anything. And it's going to be set, it's going to hover between here and England, here and the United Kingdom.
Are you fixing it? Oh, okay.
Mm.
We lost you for a little bit
Yeah.
there. So
You want me to
you,
repeat that?
yes, just about how that your mom, it's not your mom,
It's
and
not based on my mom. She will think it is. But it's kind of a fish out of water story. It's a Jamaican woman who went to the UK, went to Scotland Yard, ends up leaving, coming back to Jamaica as a detective, and gets embroiled in a murder case. So each season is just one case.
okay,
Like for anybody listening who have seen the TV show Luther,
okay.
it's a British show that why am I forgetting his name? Black James Bond. What's his name? He's not James Bond. But give me the thing. Idris Elba.
Oh,
He's in this show Luther. So it's kind of like a female Luther,
oh, that should be
and it
very
will be set in Jamaica. The whole set in Jamaica and the UK, but that one might happen before.
okay. Something to look forward to. Great. So I know that your life probably has changed since winning the Man Booker, with
Mhm.
interviews and phone calls and signings, etc. At the end of a day, sometimes you like have no voice left.
Oh, sometimes I literally have no voice left. In fact, I'm pretty sure I have halls in this bag. Yes, I do. I walk around.
Okay.
Halls need listen. Halls need to put me as their spokesman, except I wouldn't say anything because yeah. So you heard
Okay.
that?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
That's,
So I literally lose voice
wow. But that's good.
all
I
the
mean,
time.
your
But also,
whirlwind
it's what?
was like a whirlwind, I'm sure.
It was a whirlwind for a whole year. I'm like, to an extent, I'm kind of relieved that Paul just won. Well, one because he's a great writer and a really cool guy. He's a really sweet guy. But
Mhm.
yeah, it's because I think, yeah, I have now been to all continents.
Wow, where have you been? Tell us.
Let's see, I've been Asia, I've been to Hong Kong. Been to Hong Kong, so I did knock Asia off. Australia, New Zealand, lots of continental Europe, including France and Brussels, and it never really ends. So next year I started with South America.
Oh, really?
The book came out because the book has been translated into around, let's see if I get this right. I'm pretty sure it's now been translated into around 25 languages.
Okay.
That's a lot of patois people translate.
That certainly is.
I was like, man, yeah, it's I just saw the proofs of the Korean edition.
Wow.
So it's coming out in Korean, in Russian, in Ukrainian, in Portuguese, in Brazilian Portuguese.
Wow.
What else?
All of those places to introduce the book?
Some of them, if they would love it, but I mean, I got a day job. I have a day job. I have responsibilities. I can't just get up and trips about the place. Next year, I'm gonna probably do a lot of Latin America, like certainly Colombia.
Okay.
And maybe Brazil, because as I said, the book's coming out in Portuguese.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's coming out in. I mean, it's coming out in. What else is coming out in Castilian? I think, which is not even Spanish. No, it's not Castilian. It's that. What did they speak in Spanish in Spain? That's not Spanish. I can't remember.
Okay.
But pretty much every major language is coming out in Japanese, Chinese, Russian, Italian. Well, the Italians are the first.
Oh,
French,
really? That's interesting. Why the
French,
Italian?
German, Croatian.
Well, you're known around the world now, so that's fabulous. How was it? It was long plane rides.
Oh, those were hell, but first class is nice.
Sure is. It makes it bearable.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know how people do it. Funny enough, I don't think the Australia flight was all that bad. That was the one I was dreading the most.
Okay.
But I can't say anything. I was pretty much asleep for most of it. Once you've done it, I think once you've done the trip, you realize it's manageable. Because even in first class, I'm sitting down most of the time, and I'm walking around when I'm not. Yeah, now that I know what I know, I think I think the hardest flight for me may have been flying to Paris by going through Iceland. That I don't wish on anybody.
Oh wow, no.
Yeah, that's a connecting flight. But yeah, afterward, I'm trying to figure where the only place I haven't been yet is South Africa, and I really want to go.
Yes, you should. You definitely.
I've been to Nigeria, but I haven't been to South Africa yet.
Okay. Well, make sure, that you go, and then you can take that off your bucket list.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Wanted to ask you quickly about your second book, The Book of Night Woman. You mentioned about slavery in the 19th century in Jamaica. It was most books are written about American slavery, so it's interesting that you chose that in something called the Atrocity Timetable. Would you like to talk a little bit about that?
Well, as I said, most of the novels about slavery, when we talk about Beloved and we talk about Uncle Tom's Cabin, are about American slavery. And I think in Jamaica, our post-slavery dynamics work a lot different. We didn't have Jim Crow. We certainly didn't have situations. Well, we kind of did in the 1930s and in Morant Bay. We didn't have a lot of 20th century situations of the police, turning water cannons on people and all of that. But I do think that the Caribbean slavery experience, in particular Jamaica, is different and is unique and did lead to consequences that we're still reeling from. And I really wanted to capture that. I think slavery is a topic that everybody thinks has been talked about too much. I actually don't think we've talked about it at all. Mm-hmm. There are ways in which that dynamic still plays out in contemporary Jamaican society. We still have shadism. We still put a value on how light your skin is. Mm-hmm. We still do it. It's not just Jamaica. In the States, I see it everywhere. So there's still some legacies of slavery and colonialism that we are still dealing with. You know, not to get political or anything, but one of the things with that probably should still be on the table is, should we be a republic or not? Because a lot of what we're holding on to, which we think is tradition, is really a legacy of slavery and colonialism we're holding on to. If we talk about things like the Buggery Law, it's one thing if you had some modern interpretation, which I would still object to, but this is Victorian. This is a Victorian law. Adhering to something like the Buggery Law is not saying you're not holding up morality. You're still pledging allegiance to a dead queen. So it's and I think those are certain aspects. I'm not trying to preach about anything or whatever, but I do think that one of the reasons why I wrote that novel is the aspects of that history that's still with us.
And it's with us in the Caribbean and with us definitely in North America. So interesting. Okay, you teach English now, creative writing at Macalester College in Minnesota. That's where you are now, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about your life there. How long have you been there?
How long have I been here? I've been here, 9 years.
Okay.
Been here 9 years, flew blind, because the first time I showed up here was when I showed up for work.
Really?
Yeah, so because I applied for the job and I didn't get it, so I didn't have the campus visit and anything like that. It was almost the last minute that the chair of the department sent me an email asking if I'd want to come work here for a year. So I came on a 1-year appointment. They like me, I like them, so they hired me for another year. And then the person who did get the job quit, and I was there. And the cool thing is, because I was a product of the same job search, they could just sort of slide me into that position. So I've been here for a while. It's you know, the city and the community has really embraced me. I've actually won the Minnesota Book Award twice.
Wow. Okay.
And they, in fact, the funniest thing, it was not funny, it was actually really touching. October 28th is Marlon James Day.
Oh, really? That's wonderful.
I don't know if it's a regular thing. That would be weird. But last year it was October 28th. I came back and they go, you have a proclamation from the mayor of both cities.
Marlon James Day.
Yeah. So
are you going to be celebrating it tomorrow too? Or was it only?
I hope not. That would be weird. I think it was a 1-year thing.
Okay, well that's excellent. Very, very good.
So yeah. So needless to say, the city, the state, the community has really embraced me. And you know, and also, but the thing is, there's also a pretty strong Jamaican community here, because Jamaicans are everywhere with it. There's a Jamaican at the South Pole. I don't even have to ask.
That's true. That's true.
So we have a Jamaicans here. In fact, the Jamaica bobsled team was here last week.
Really?
Yeah. Because one of the hottest new restaurants here. I mean, people are raving. Is this restaurant named Pimento? And it's jerk food. It's jerk cuisine. But jerk chicken done like Jamaicans come and go, okay, this is jerk chicken. Because most people just bake chicken in jerk sauce. Like, that is not jerk chicken. So and he is my friend Tommy. Tommy is the toast of the culinary world here now. And he's just opened his second store, his second restaurant. Wonderful. So, you know, Jamaicans, and big up everywhere. So
that's
can't get rid of them.
I'm sure Macalester College is really happy that they have a Man Booker Prize winner on their faculty now too. They're like, it's a good 1-year contract that turned into something really good. What about Brad Pitt, the Hollywood actor? He recently showed his admiration for your work by reading an excerpt of A Brief History as a part of New York Times Style magazine package. What do you think of that? And did you talk to him, interview him? I mean, how did it happen?
Well, I did interview him. I interviewed him for the New York Times Style magazine. They just emailed me one day and say, hey, what do you think about Brad Pitt? I go, he's nice. They go, you want to interview him? I'm like, sure, why not? Flew out to LA and met him, and he was really smart and really, really, really nice guy. I went there. One of my reasons I went there was to show him up. I was like, I'm sure you don't know, but nothing about architecture, because that's something that's one of my like little hobbies that I really follow.
Okay.
And no, he knew his stuff. He knew who Shigeru Ban was. He even corrected me on my wrong pronunciation. Really smart and really funny. But I heard he was doing the excerpt of the book, but I didn't really believe it until I saw it. So,
wow. And it was really good. It was very effective, the use of light.
Yeah, he reads it better than me.
He's an actor. He practiced a lot.
That's true. That's why I don't read my books. Because it's not readers who read audiobooks. You have to be an actor. You're acting it.
Tell me what you tell your students as writers. What's the thing that you want them to come away from your classes with?
What do I want to come from my class? Hold on 1 second. I think somebody will be knocking. 1 second. What do I tell my students?
Yeah, what do you think that they want? What do you want to tell them? What do you want them to come away from your class with?
Well, I want them to. The first thing I want them to come away with, because I'm actually sometimes surprised that I have to tell them this, is the sense of possibility that you really can write anything you want, and I think that's something that that they sometimes have to be told or reassured that you can. There's no subject matter you not broach, and that you have to, on one hand, be open to everything. Everybody, anything, any situation, every person offers a chance to learn something. And I think as soon as they grasp that, then the options, the possibilities of their writing rather explodes. There's nothing worse than a writer who's already decided what they're not going to read. And I come across it all the time. Or a poet going, "Oh, I'm not going to listen to that poetry," or "I'm not going to read that book." It's you might as well just write the word mediocre and just paste it on your face. That you as soon as you recognize pretty much anything and any person is an opportunity to learn something, that's when you're going to start writing good lit. That's when you're going to be a good writer.
That's an excellent takeaway point. So I hope some young people listening have taken that and learned from that. So what has the Man Booker meant to you, though? Has it affirmed your confidence in any way, or
yeah, it is still surreal. It is pretty surreal. It's pretty surreal being in a company of some of these writers who are huge heroes of mine, whether it's Salman Rushdie, Nadine Gordimer, or so on, and it takes a while. It will still take a while to think that, especially now that I'm the former Booker winner, now that I get to put my picture somewhere with some other people. Yeah, it's and a lot of these people I've gotten to know really well. Being in their company, I think, is really has been humbling and exciting, and it continues to be exciting. It will continue to be. I thought it would fade a little bit now that Paula's won it or somebody else, there's a new winner, and it hasn't. It's such a surreal thing, and it's certainly turned my 2015-16 into a total whirlwind.
Yeah.
Which I'm not complaining about. And books been selling nice in a lot of places, which I'm not complaining about either. It is a game changer. It really does completely and profoundly change your life.
And congratulations, you really deserve it. And I'm happy that it has changed your life and will continue to change your life, because I don't think it stops. Some people might not know that the 2016 winner was just announced just 2 days ago in London at London's Guildhall, and his name is Paul Beatty of the USA. And You know him. He's a friend of yours.
He's a friend of mine, and we also have the same UK publisher. And for those who are listening, who are writers, that book was rejected 19 times.
Okay. So
nobody in the UK would touch it. My publisher did, but she has a habit of touching books nobody else will touch. And now, now they're I don't know when was the last time a publisher has had 2 Booker winners in a row.
Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
But Paul's book is really interesting. It's hilarious. It's very, very biting satire, and it's it's a wonderful and preposterous book. And I think I am so glad it's not going to have such a wide audience, because it has some very necessary conversations about race, which I think, especially going into this election season.
Yes,
I need to talk. Are my students padding up at my door?
I don't know. We're winding down now. But before you go, I really have to read his book. Actually, now you've whetted my appetite. But what about your UE experience? Did you live on hall? Who were your favorite professors? What's your favorite memory?
I didn't live on hall, and I should have, because I live in Portmore, and coming to UE every day was ridiculous. So I was at UE 88 to 91. So I had Eddie Baugh, Victor Chang, Professor John Ingledew, who's no longer with us. Who else was there? John Hearn was my creative writing professor. Carolyn Cooper, I think, was on sabbatical, and I still cuss her out about that. It's like, you weren't even here. What was there? David Williams. It was lots of one. It's the first place where I was an adult. And one of the interesting things is that some people who I absolutely did not talk to and hated in college, in high school, the second we got to we're adults now. Some of those guys became my best friends. The type of, I am responsible for my own scholarship, that took a while. Because you leave high school, you're kind of entitled. It's like, teacher, I need to teach me this. It's like, no, you're in college now. So, and most of those friends, I'm still very close to. In fact, we actually have a chat group on WhatsApp, just called UE91, as all of us.
Cool.
And we talk, in fact, somebody just put something. So, so I'm still in contact with almost everybody from my UE experience. I'm still in contact with. I'm still pretty close to. Some of those professors are now my friends on Facebook, which is surreal. But so much of my literary sensibility was formed there. That's where I read Streetcar Named Desire. That's where I read. I mean, even Marquez happened because somebody left behind a book in where was it? I even remember the classroom. It was an English block. It was a classroom in there, and they left it behind. And I'm like, well, stay too long, serve too master, my mother always said. So, but then that started a whole love affair with Latin American literature. So, it's my UA experience changed everything. It changed everything. At one point, I think even when I left, I was actually on campus more than I was when I was a student.
That's great to hear.
Yeah, and it's so interesting. Running into, I'm trying to remember, who's chairing the department now?
Michael Buckner.
I thought Michael was on leave.
He took a sabbatical, I think, but he's back now.
Oh, he's back. Because Michael, because for years I've been telling Michael we were in the same class, and he didn't believe me. Until he went and dug up the records. I was like, yeah, I told you we were in the same class. We were in Victor Chang's class, Professor Chang's class.
Oh, okay.
I remember all of us. It was me, him, David Cole, Sally Twyman. Notice I remember even the names.
Wow. It's an amazing memory. But that's good. I'm so happy that we had such an impact and such a positive impact on you. And
well, it's continuing to have an impact.
Yeah, and the fact that you have lifelong friends and networks, built out from that. That's wonderful.
Yeah.
So that's really great. So what's
Cool.
next?
What's next is I'm trying to finish this new novel, which, well, finishes an overstatement. I pretty much just started it.
Okay.
So writing the next novel, doing a lot more teaching, and trying to get these TV shows off the ground.
Okay.
But that's more of the same, basically.
Yeah. What about new genres like libretto, for example?
Man, that's gonna have to wait. I'm excited about doing all those things. I'm just trying to get this novel, which is to an extent a fantasy sci-fi kind of thing. So it is a new genre for me.
Oh, okay. Well, we look forward to hearing about that.
What?
I said we're going to look forward to hearing about that. Very good.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Marlon, for being with us here on Pelican Talks. Marlon James is a UE graduate, a super Pelican, an incredible writer, and participant in the world language of literature. We really enjoyed having you here on Pelican Talks. We'll keep in touch for sure. Look to see what you're doing next. And thanks again for sharing this afternoon with us. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Yeah, take care. We'll be in touch. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Bye.